Hello, everybody. My name is Nolan. I'm a second year computer science student at Carleton.
Hey guys, I'm Derek. I'm also a second year computer science student at Carleton.
A bit about me. I have done hackathons in the past, won all of them except for my first one, but never got to give a workshop like this. So it's also a good chance for me to tell you what goes on behind the scenes and what goes on before the hackathon, during, and the pitch session. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna tell you what we built during the hackathon. So what we built was we called it Air Reserve. It was a flight automator tool. So you have flight tracking tools out there. So if you have to book a flight, you set a tracker on, and then you monitor the notifications and look for a reasonable price to book your ticket. Now, this booking process is what we wanted to replace with AI. We wanted to replace this human element and put AI into use so that your time can be saved, which is the problem we were trying to solve. Who was our market? We were trying to build it for busy professionals out there and people who were on a budget. So that's our market. And we tried to use all the tools that most of the tools that had a price related to them. So I'll go more into that. But yeah, so the first thing that needs to be done is team formation. How many of you here have a team already? Okay. And how many of you are still looking for a team? Okay. So for the ones who are still looking for a team, don't hesitate to reach out to people. The way I found my team was that Ansh reached out to me about the hackathon. I posted on my Discord, like the clubs I'm part of. I posted on their bulletin boards. If anyone's looking to do a hackathon with me, Derek reached out and he was free that weekend. And then Nick also reached out to me. Nick is fairly new to hackathons, which is one other thing that I would like to bring up for the people who already have teams right now. Do not hesitate to get someone who is less experienced than you, because Nick, even though he didn't do a hackathon before, we won two prizes, one from Tavili and the other from Windsurf, and Nick Nick got us the Windsurf prize. So it's the drive that matters, not the experience. So when it comes to team formation, keep that in mind. Okay, have a communication hub when you're working with your team. For us, that was Discord. Why? Because of our familiarity with HEIV's server, and also Ansh being a working professional, he was more used to Slack, which is similar to Discord, so it was easy to get him on board. Here you can see our Discord channel that we used. We organized it so we have a general chat channel. There's resources, so everyone who were, researching about anything. Ansh was working on MCPs. Nick was still learning how to use version control in GitHub. I was trying to learn about Tavili, and Derek was learning about LangChain. So everything that they were going through, they were putting the resources in that channel. Then one thing I'd like to mention over here is how much I think that webhooks are convenient when it comes to testing stuff. For us, since we were working in a team, we connected our GitHub repository to this webhook, so we don't have to constantly monitor who posted what or who pushed what changes. Any changes that were pushed were sent into this Discord channel, and I'll show you how it looks. So this is from a different repository, but this is usually how it looks. Anyone who pushes a change or makes a commit, you get a notification. So you don't have to go to GitHub and check for recent commits, or you don't have to git pull and see if any change was made. So that is very handy. Another webhook which we made was for LangChain. So instead of sending stuff to your JSON file when testing things, you can have it send to this webhook. So for us, the way our tool worked, just the high level stuff, is that you put information on the website, it goes to LangChain. LangChain sends it to Tavili, and Tavili crawls the web and finds out prices, returns it back to LangChain, and LangChain returns the output into a JSON file and in this webhook. So you can see whatever LangChain was, whatever data it was collecting, it put into that webhook. So it was easy to test for us as well. And I wouldn't go into how to make a webhook because that's you can find resources online for that. And next, I want to tell you how the idea came out to be. So we set a deadline before the hackathon. It was the week before the hackathon. We were brainstorming for ideas. Everyone was supposed to put out at least 3 ideas into this ideas channel. And then we broke down those ideas into different things. So we were basically trying to hit the most prizes, and we made sure that each idea hit at least 4 to 7 prizes to improve our chances of winning. Each idea was broken down into how many prizes it was hitting, what the workload would be like when divided among 4 people, and the time we were given was 6 hours. But we tried to keep it at 4 because we left the other 2 hours for miscellaneous stuff or debugging or for refreshments. So factor that time as well. And yeah, that's how we broke down all the prizes. And on a call, everyone went through these breakdowns and then put out their top 3, and we chose the flight booking automator. And yeah, that's how the idea came out to be. Now, after my first hackathon, I realized how important it is to have a team leader. You need to have someone with a bit more responsibility, someone who organizes everything. When it comes to pre-hackathon, it's more about getting everyone together since everyone's full-time, either working full-time or studying. You have to be able to get everyone on a single call, so you have to coordinate with them, and then you have to assign roles, which I'll tell you more about in upcoming slide. And then you have to, during the hackathon, make sure you're checking in every 20 minutes with your teammates. That is important because I'll give you an example. When we were building our tool, say Ansh was stuck, Ansh was working on MCPs, he was working on MCPs, and he was stuck at the with something, and Derek knew more about it. So when I checked in on Ansh and he told me the problem, and then I told about it to Derek, they were able to work on it together. So even though you will be distributing tasks among yourselves, properly communicate every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but make sure that the tasks are going smoothly and no issues are being blocked. That's where having a team leader comes in. This is how our GitHub issues looked. So even though you can't start coding yet, you can still start planning. So we made our GitHub issues beforehand. We organized it based on the monetary value of prizes. Tavili offered the most money, so we tried to integrate that tool first, and then everything from there on was based on priority. We try to make it so that it is less interdependent and more modular. So and we also assigned at least 2 people to each task, except for the one where you have to prepare a demo script. So if Derek and me are working on this and Ansh and Nick are working on this, and they're done first, they can move on to the next one and we can integrate it after. So each issue is modular. And this is how one issue looked. Now, I didn't write all of this. I just went to GitHub Copilot, put in my prompt, told it to divide it into different sections and make the wording so that everyone understands it, even if they don't know about the product. So this is an example of what an issue looked like. It was created, then it was there were labels assigned, and then I assigned people to it, and then there were it was linked to other issues, but we tried to make it so that it's not blocking multiple issues, and everything is kind of modular. So yeah, it took me half an hour to create all these issues with GitHub Copilot, provided you already have an idea of what you're doing. And you can start brainstorming ideas. You can't start coding, but you can still initialize your repository. I used multiple. So we used Windsurf for UI, and then Copilot for creating our GitHub issues. Then I used Claude as well. But yeah, a lot of white coding went into it too. I didn't know everything. So yeah, so you can start creating your prompts ahead of time as well. Say you know the project structure, you know what folders are going into root, what their subfolders will be. Create a prompt, put it in your notepad when time comes, and you are to push a commit. Go to Cursor, Windsurf, you'll be given access to Factory AI. Put in the prompt and it'll create your project structure in 2 minutes. You won't have to spend your time there. So have your prompts ready if you have an idea of what you'll be building. Familiarize yourself with the tools that you'll be working on. So we were working with Tavili, LangChain, and Firebase. So we had to set up the API keys, which we did beforehand. We set up the accounts, and so that when time comes, you can just plug them in as your environment variables and work on something that needs more time. Identify the external tools that you'd be needing outside of what will be given to you during the hackathon. And this time it's not dev post, it's a different submission form, which will be made available. So make yourself familiar to that as well. This, you can ignore whatever going on here, but what I want you to focus on is this message from Ansh. We started working on beforehand, like we started testing the tools, and Ansh, found an issue with Tavili while he was testing the tool, and that what I want you to show is that saved our time that we would have spent during the hackathon debugging. So if you're familiar with your tools, that's where it comes handy. Okay, I'll pass it on to Derek now.
All right. So before the hackathon, we spent all this time planning, learning about the tools, and trying to get through any potential blockers that we otherwise would encounter during the hackathon. So we wanted to play around with the different tools used by the challenges and try to figure out how they work, right? So on hackathon day, we want to spend as much time coding. We want to spend as much time developing our product. Anytime we spend hesitating or like trying to plan our stuff is time wasted. This is stuff that we could have done before the hackathon, and that's what we did. So here we try to focus on coding. So at the start of the hackathon, we want to get something set up. We start off with an empty repository, and it's always sort of like, okay, where do we even start? What do we do? So we try to quickly set up a clear and structured code base, a bit of a skeleton for everyone to go off of. So here I've included a fairly simple screenshot of our original skeleton. It's nothing fancy. It's we have a testing folder, source folder, config, data, docs, fairly basic components we think we would need, and that gave everyone a place to start. And that brings me over to having a development process. We need to know what the next step is, right? We need to know what we need to focus on right now. And that's also something that we would have thought about before the hackathon. And this is where we can always go back and look at the roadmap we planned out before the hackathon. So This is the GitHub issues that we had. You can look at the previous the Discord conversations we had, and that's how we gave ourselves an idea of, okay, we need to get started on this first, and then after that we have to work on this and then that, and that gives everyone an idea, an overview of what the overall workflow is going to be like, so everyone knows what needs to be done. While everyone focuses on specific features, one of the biggest challenges that I think many of you, if you've done hackathons in the past, have encountered, integrating. Right, everyone has a completely different code base than what we all started with, and you spend an hour trying to get everything working together. And so that's where I think continuous integration is really, really important. We really want to avoid having merge conflicts. Like a merge conflict nightmare was like you have a billion different pieces of your code that just don't really fit together, and you have to try to debug all of those one by one. We don't want that. That's a huge waste of time, right? So what we decided to do this time around is we really tried to focus on creating focused tasks, and take baby steps, right? So we don't just prompt, I don't know, Windsurf or Kodi or whatever IDE you're using. We don't just prompt, hey, build me the backend, build me this feature. We try to split it up into smaller subtasks, and so that we can try to integrate them as we go, just to prevent having 10,000 lines in one commit, and having everyone try to, and if each person has 10,000 lines of code that they want to merge together, you can imagine it's going to be a mess. So we tried to keep our task focused, and everyone merges features locally, like regularly, right? So you want to keep communicating with your teammates regularly as you code. You want to let people know, hey, okay, this feature is done. We have to update our code. This code base has been updated. Everyone should be merging, should be pulling the new changes now. And what this does is it lets everyone regularly keep their code base up to date with what everyone has, right? And so that if there's any conflicts that arise from any new features that just got merged, we can get them over with early on before any new code gets added and makes a huge mess. So that's something we do. Another thing that we really focused on was trying to use pull requests more often than just direct merges, just because it really lets us see what's about to be merged, and I really think it's a lot more organized, right? So this screenshot here is basically a bunch of pull requests that we had from our Air Reserve repository that we opened during the hackathon, and we also closed a bunch of them. And yeah, so we can sort of see from bottom to top how the development process went. So like we had added database tools, I don't know, a bunch of UI. We added our webhook here. And yeah, we continuously added small features, and we merged them regularly to make sure everyone stays up to date, no issues, less merge conflicts. You still have them, you're probably going to run into them, but they get resolved right here in the pull request before they get merged into the main branch. And another big thing that we focused on was making sure we adapted as we went. So as the hackathon goes on, things are going to go wrong. Right? No one's gonna build an app that runs on the first try. Whether it's like integration issues or some logical error while we were coding it, we have to be realistic and know our abilities, because things are going to go wrong. So we had to manage our time and make sure we prioritized prototype or MVP features over the nice to haves, because obviously we probably weren't going to have time to get everything done, and that was the assumption we were going off of when we got started at the hackathon. So we really tried to focus on, and this is also what we did during pre-hackathon, right? We thought about the awards, what we would have to do, how the tools worked, what we would have to do. That's again the GitHub issues that we created, right? So we had to think about what we had to have for the demo, what we wanted to demo in terms of the prizes, and what were the judges looking for, right? Because as time goes on and things maybe go wrong, maybe you spend time debugging something, and maybe if we introduce, like, for example, for us, I'll bring up Nick again. He was a relatively non-technical person coming into the team. We had some issues with getting some of his workspace set up, and I ended up spending some time with him trying to help him out on that, and that delayed a bit of the LangChain development, which also blocked a bunch of stuff. But that was something, yeah. So things are going to happen, and you try to work around them and figure out what are your priorities. What do you need for your demo? You don't need a complete product. You just need some. You need to give the judges what they're looking for. It's not really about having a complete product yet. So, for example, I would say some unrealized features that we had was like an MVP flight agent, like a the flight agent that we developed, I wouldn't say is complete. We had many more features we wanted to add to it, but we didn't really have the time. So we only focused on what we were going to demo, and that worked out for us in the end. For sure. Yeah. We also had a voice agent that we were also going to try to integrate, but also because of time, we ended up dropping that as well. And yeah, those are some examples of stuff we ended up dropping in favor for better for prizes that we wanted to prioritize.